Hey everybody, it's Sam Jacobs. Welcome to the Sales Hacker Podcast and to Friday Fundamentals. That short 5 to 10 minute format where we bring you actionable insights to help make a difference in what you're going to do today. And this week we've got back on the show this week's guest, Ryan Walsh. He's the founder and CEO of a company called RepView. And we're going to be talking about what are the top factors that drive outsized sales compensation. And Ryan has the data and has the insights to walk us through. Now, before we get there, we want to thank our sponsor. Friday Fundamentals is brought to you by Outreach. Outreach triples the productivity of sales teams and empowers them to drive predictable and measurable revenue growth. By prioritizing the right activities and scaling customer engagement with intelligent automation, Outreach makes customer-facing teams more effective and improves visibility into what really drives results. Now, Ryan, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Sam. Good to be here.
We're excited to have you. So our question that we're going to put to you today is, what are the top factors that drive outsized sales compensation?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I love this topic, and we do have data on sales compensation, particularly across software sales organizations. And so let me first start with when I think about this, and I know a lot of the listeners are maybe thinking about that. I'm an AE, I'm an SDR. Those things are very different. They are, but what you still want to look for is what can my upside be as a sales professional? Like, I'll have an OTE, but what can I really earn in that job if I blow it out? And so first I want to talk a little bit about the difference between an SDR and an AE from that standpoint, and then I'll talk about what are the factors that can cause you to blow it out. So first, SDR comp is going to be somewhat limited because it's mostly a unit-based model, right? You're limited based on time of day. You're limited based on activity, right? You might have a little bit of upside if that big deal closes, but you're mostly just unit-based. On the AE side, of course, that 50K deal that you thought you had just turned into a 400K deal. Well, that's going to significantly impact you. So there's various differences. And if you look at the data that we have, and if you're familiar with what we have at RepView, I look for a multiple of on-target earnings. And at the SDR level, I look for a multiple of 1.25 is pretty good. I look for a multiple of 1.75 for AEs and up, hopefully, is pretty good. And there's a very, very wide range of data that you'll see across the sales orgs we have published on our site. And here's some of the things that go into that. So first of all, hard work, right? You have to put in the effort and the work to make that happen, right? I get asked about hacks all the time, sales hack this, sales hack that. Maybe there's some tricks and tips. Maybe your cadence is better than my cadence. Maybe your closing message in your email is a little better than mine, but that's not going to take you from 200K to 500K, okay? So just put in the effort. And then some people may not like to hear this, but tenure helps, right? Your book of business can grow. You're cultivating that prospect, and sometimes it takes 18 months. Well, if you're only going to be at that job 12 months, it just ain't going to close. So that's another key piece. Another one is luck and territory, right? Different companies are set up differently. And so this is where it's really important during an interview process for a new organization to deeply understand what is your territory. Who will you be calling on? Is it something net new that the company's focused on? Did somebody leave that territory? If so, why did they leave and what was their performance? We see examples of companies where the quota attainment in terms of the number of people that are hitting quota is very, very low, but the upside is very, very high. Paycom is an example of that, where the data that we have, 74K base, 160 OTE, and an upside for top performers is $781,000 annualized. And so what is driving
Paycom.
Paycom, right?
And them an ad.
Yeah, they don't stand out in many other areas, but when you look at that, it's amazing. And I've talked to many people, and they've said, well, there's certain territories that if you can get and hang on to, you can just absolutely kill it. And I use that example, but that's not uncommon. And it's really important to understand what is that, what will your book of business be? And I say territory, I don't necessarily mean geographic. It could be geographic, right? It could be a slice of a vertical. It could be a horizontal and a kind of vertical slice of size of company and industry. You could be all just getting round robin from the SDR team, and if that's the case, you'll have to dig into that and understand, how many and where's that going to come from. So I love the topic of sales compensation. We have a ton of data on it. We're publishing it on our site at repview.com, REPVUE. I am easy to find on LinkedIn if anybody wants to chat further about sales compensation data or sales compensation strategies. Feel free to ping me. I'm easy to get a hold of.
Sounds good. And so again, folks, if you're out there listening, hard work, the first main ingredient, no duh, we knew that. Tenure, because you need your book of business to season a little bit, and sometimes it takes a while. And then if you're out there interviewing, you got to figure out what's the territory, and maybe consider using RepView or a platform like RepView, although I don't think one exists, but to figure out what do the top earners make, because we just talked about this example at Paycom where I think the quota attainment as a percentage of the people on the team that hit quota is low, but the top performers earned $783,000 against an OTE of, I think, 145, if I'm not mistaken. Is that the right ratio?
160. Close enough.
160.
Yep.
Pretty good.
Yep.
So 80 base, 80, on target. Somebody out there broke the comp plan and earned $783,000. And to that person, man, woman, or non-binary, we tip our hat to you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, exactly. Good job. And you should feel proud about the work that you did. If you want to, Ryan just mentioned, but if you want to check out RepView, it's repview.com, VUE. Find him on LinkedIn if you want to talk to him directly. If you want to reach out to me, you can. LinkedIn.com/the word in/Sam F. Jacobs. If you want to take a look at Revenue Collective, that's at revenuecollective.com. That's all I've got for now. Ryan, thanks so much for being our guest on the show this week.
Great to be here. Thanks, Sam.